Recording now.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, people.
Yeah.
People arrive in the dark.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
They come to listen to the light.
And once again, we're gathered upon the metaphorical campfire in the darkness of the podcast internet listening space to help you while away 30 to 60 minutes of your time in a hopefully constructive but definitely entertaining way.
Yeah, we're definitely going to try to stay in the regular format that we always say we will and
100%.
not go over time like we always do.
It's
Go
true.
with us.
We've given ourselves a generous range today. I think it's doable.
Yeah, but who are we, Jack? Who are we, Bat?
You know, we always say we strikes last, and I guess that's who we are.
We are, Rocco.
Yeah.
So tonight, I think we want to talk about some sad boys. And for those who are watching on YouTube, I'm gonna go ahead and share something here. It's
Your heart.
pretty well. In addition to my heart.
Oh man, what a guy.
In addition.
Man, for our YouTube watchers, like the anticipation as this goes up on the screen right now.
His head. My God. Matt, you're in the computer.
I am
it's
in
wild.
the computer, and as you can see here.
Kind of. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Can you all see it? I can't see what it looks like on me. That's the weird.
No, you're good.
It looks like
no,
you're in front of a giant whiteboard where like you're in front of it. Also, full credit and shout out to the Honest War Gamer who gathered these stats. We did not do these ourselves. This is just fodder for us to talk about. So
it's right here.
Thanks, Rob.
Rob has all of the knowledge on all of this stuff. We are merely, Remora's latching onto his craft on his website here.
100%. He's been doing it for years. Him and his team, the other Rob even.
Hopefully, all the love is well deserved.
Hopefully, we're serving some vital part of the aquarium ecosystem there. But yeah.
And if you've never heard of this website, it's thehonestwargamer.com. So go and look at it. It will help you immensely. They have a ton of great playing resources even that are downloadable.
Definitely do. And check out that podcast as well if you haven't had a chance. Though I will say, if you have heard about us and listening to this now, but have not heard of the Honest War Gamer, you are the outlier state.
That is fair. That is fair. But you know what? Sometimes people find things in different ways. Algorithms are funky.
That's true. If they were looking for deep, soulful radio voices, they definitely would have found us first.
Indeed. That's our one-up that we have, right? That is our shtick. But you know what else our shtick is right now?
Sticks.
And
talking about the little sticks.
Yeah, the little ones.
And a bar graph here.
The ones that are 1.8%, maybe even 2.3%, or even 3.0% or 3.2% of representation in the meta. It's pretty insane. Looking at what we have out here, a lot of this you'll hear Rob go through. But
this is from 5 game or more events, 2 days, traditionally looking for a GT result. How many times the army is played is in brackets next to the army, the percentage of what it actually is in the ecosystem there's on the far right. We got a good time. And it is. It's always interesting for me because you always Stormcaster in the startup box, and then whoever's stapled on with them always seems to be near the top. You hear about Slaves of Darkness, you hear about the Soul Blight. Gits are doing good things.
Just because they're awesome. Everybody loves Gits.
KO came out broken, so they got overrepresented by people jumping on the bandwagon. Cities shooting was great, and they're dropping. Then you start going down a little bit, and you're like,
why?
It's true. I wonder what's causing these things. What's drawing people one direction or another, or just creating an aversion, maybe. We thought we'd talk today about some of these ones at the very bottom of the barrel and maybe why they might be there. Try to get some insight, take our thoughts on it. Because it's fun to see all the armies. It's a bummer when some of these don't show up as often as you'd like.
And it's really interesting too because a lot of these don't really have bandwagons that people have hitched themselves to. They're the ones at the bottom. Specifically, those are armies that people play because they love them. And I don't know about the win rate, because honestly, we're not going to just content steal from Rob and his glorious website.
Scroll up a little bit on his website. You want to see that. We're not here for that, right?
Fine.
I didn't mean you, Matt. I meant them. No.
Okay,
yeah,
go away.
That's them.
Go away.
So we're just going to talk about why we don't see them, what our theories are a bit, and maybe kind of delve into that a bit.
And what are lists that we think that could actually, break that mold, do the work.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
So I mean, let's take a look at these. Do we want to start at the bottom?
Let's start at the bottom.
Start at the bottom. Now we here.
What we got? Looks like Hedonites of Slaanesh, which is actually kind of surprising to me, considering our RTT, where a very specific list dog walked a lot of games. So, as the resident Hedonite here, Jack, I know you've spread your wings and included some of the, less, how can we say, decorated models, such as like Slaves to Darkness, and even Skaven.
I have taken a short walk to less filigree and more iron for Slaves to Darkness, but Hedonites always rule my heart. First love and definitely the spiritual home. Well, I have some theories to this. I think there's a couple of things going on, but I think the first thing we have to do when we talk about this part for Hedonites is understand this whole thing is flipped on its head for him, because for Hedonites, right, it's all about like pain, pleasure, sadism, a little bit, the longing, all that privation. Like
what
people in the Hedonite side, they enjoy that kind of thing. So first of all, the fact that they don't get any love is just the purest irony, something that the decadent lords of the Hedonites certainly desire. The sort of like exquisite agony. Second, I think that on a practical level, what you're seeing here is the fact that while the models are beautiful, they are a huge, huge, huge pain to produce.
You mean bliss barbs as well that have like 20 bajillion parts for one model?
Worst models ever.
And I've painted up and, assembled pretty much every kit in the range. And they're all various degrees of fiddly, just in the assembly stage. But the bliss barbs are amongst the worst. They have funky, like joins where there's like a cross bridge inside of a torso. Things have to like align just right. So it's inevitably like a million mold line removals. And then you're like trying to do a one-click push to hope that your plastic glue doesn't leave your guy like with a melted face. Looks like it came out of some horror movie with an acid bath. And, that's just not the effect you're looking for in Slaanesh. Yeah.
Exactly. RoboCop, man. Good call.
But it goes even deeper than that. I mean, like the cavalry, they're beautiful, but they have this thing where you can't paint them in sub-assemblies properly. Because if you don't glue them all together, you have a situation where it's very hard to pop the riders back on. I made this mistake when I was doing the bliss bar, the seekers and the slick blades. It was like you had to kind of force them apart and like try to get it to work. That's an unpleasant thing. You have two painted models trying to put them together, but if you go all the way, it's incredibly hard to paint them. So right there, like the assemblies are difficult, to some degree. And then once you actually get to the painting, it's not a small model volume army. You need a lot of these guys to do it right. And they have a lot of detail, like tons of sandals and bliss barbs, tons of filigree and gems. It's really fun to paint it. But like if you're trying to sit down and power through an army, it's like a gigantic and daunting undertaking versus say maybe going with Soul Black Gravelords, dry brush bone.
Yeah, and speed paint can only do so much. Contrast paints can only cover so much flesh,
Exactly.
So what you're saying is there aren't that many converters out there that play Hedonites of Slaanesh, and that would be the only reason. But I also posit another solve to that issue that you're putting out there, and that's the demon line, which are at this point maybe 15 years old, I think, maybe more.
Yeah.
And they're simple. So why aren't we seeing those? Because Reckless Hosts is pretty good, allowing you to retreat and charge if you want.
Now here's the rub, I think, Matt. Now I think the people who have the models painted and want to play the army, for whom like they love it, it's a labor of love, you do see some of that stuff. It's just the people who might want to pivot to it, it gets pretty daunting. Let's talk about that demon line. So if you're assembling the demons, you have choices of two demonettes. There's current kit, which are kind of like wild hair in the wind, not that good in my personal opinion. Then excellent kit, which is old metal Juan Diaz,
Yes.
Which I love mine, but oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, I think you and I split a giant lot back in the day, and that was a steal, and it was still a premium, and that's where I got my 40 or 50, painted demonettes. And then,
I forgot how many there were in those boxes.
So many. But like, it's still a lot to get those together, but it's nowhere near the chore that the chariots are. I mean, like, let's look at
those chariots. It's just
they're one of the worst kits. I mean, if you don't paint them as sub-assemblies, like, you're never gonna get those nooks and crannies.
Stupid little blades in the back of the
everywhere on the axles. And so, like, I have like an exalted chariot, which is still probably like 2/3 painted, and it's like I never get back to it because it's such a pain. So even like some of the other ones, you can put them together, but the assembly itself is like one kit with like a lot of obscure instructions to try to make it happen. So it's kind of
and it's a multi-kit.
Yeah,
that chariot,
one big old
that
crazy one.
Yeah. So let's say. And I have solutions for all of you Hedonites of Slaanesh players out there, because I have a massive amount of Hedonites of Slaanesh that I have put together, and 33 more Blissbarb archers that I still need to put together, along with the other 22 that I need to put together that are probably coming along the way, because all Blissbarb archers is hilarious and painful in purely Hedonites of Slaanesh fashion. So what I'm hearing is that it's all models. And I don't know if I agree with that. I think because you can do conversion work. If you go and get some wood elves and then paint them purple, hey, those are some good Hedonites of Slaanesh right there, right?
That's true.
There's a lot of answers for converting your own army that will also give you, a better hobby score in general, as long as you buy yourselves a Demonette box. So, barring all of that, I think, even though, yes, I think every single Hedonite of Slaanesh model, even like just the Painbringer dude, have been complete pains in the ass to put together, but they suffer from two things currently. I think in the edition, specifically with battle tactics, that give them problems, and people may have hesitations playing them. And the first thing is they are not survivable in protracted and they fall swiftly to damage, right? It seems
weird in a war game. They die easy in droves? That's crazy.
It seems like this is one of those things where they, the meta has swung back to a lot of people are looking at very survivable models. And I'm actually going to posit this for everything for the bottom 5 of these armies, right? Survivability is not in the hands of a 3+ save for pretty much any of the model or any of the armies that we're looking at here. And the second thing is they're actually not that fast of an army anymore. Now you have
comparatively.
Yep, you have like you have retreat and charge, and you have some possible abilities to get run and charge in certain areas, right? But their base movement is back down to 12. For their cavalry, making them about as slow as other units without having the survivability of those units, right? Maybe there's a ward save, but
and other armies have teleport shenanigans and terrain, like in Stormcast, game with their terrain even doing some of that lifting too to set up better. Slaves to Darkness have movement shenanigans. Soulblade have a cav build. Gloomspite have a better cav build. And you go down the line here, you're like, they have a lot of the same tricks, but they just die so easy. It is a glass cannon.
I feel like they can be sneakily more resilient than people think, and because they do have the toolkit, and they have a 3+ saves and the Painbringers. They have like sources of -1 attack from like the Simbaresh if you charge them, and they have even an artifact can double that down. Not quite as powerful as it was back with the old Warlord trade, where it was from like, or the thing from the bodyguard retinue thing of the last edition. But they can pull some stuff. They even have an expanded amount of utility through like the stuff they got in like the soggy updates. They have the ability to bring back a unit at half strength. You know, they have some fun stuff to play around with, and even some really new interesting variant for the the Fiend Bloods coming in and kind of doing all the shenanigans like we were talking about the other week. Or even
we talked about this, and we're like, there should be something here, you know, and it's just they have the sauce, and part of it is, you know, other people might just be on other stuff that might be slightly easier to play.
I think that's it. I mean, big thing. I know it comes back to the model thing, but I think this is my whole theory in it. If you have all the models and you do play with it, you can do wonderful things with them. You can like totally get terrifying armies to work well. Granted, they can be a little fragile, but they have like this other ways to reduce impact when you're fighting them. The problem is the production meta and the painted meta, the shiny meta. That all first came out with them. They got their big boxes and everything. They came out with a book which was also the weakest book like ever for them, legendarily. That's when the whole mortal side came out.
That's true. They were paying for the sins of some previous Slanesh builds.
Yeah. So it's been a while.
That being said, towards
that bill's paid.
That bill is definitely paid. I think those are all valid points. I think the model building certainly does keep me from putting my Slanesh on the table because I have a ton more of mortals that I want to get together, and those are the lists that I'm writing, right? And so I'm constantly just like, oh, okay, suck it up, take the ibuprofen, break your back, and build another 5, right?
Yep.
Just
time to paint 50 sandals, you know.
Yep. And so like I definitely get that. The esoteric revelers, or sorry, ecstatic revelers, so many different words or random words in
Slanesh, it's blood and corn.
Yeah. Where you get like +1 rend, right? To
that's a fun one.
Well, they're outside of friendly territory is actually pretty good. It's situational, but like a lot of these other
there's a lot of battle plans where that's doable on the first turn.
Just on the head of it, you think of that, and this is just the way we talk about it right now, where we say, is this good if you just have the models? It's great for the models. Just have Myrmidons Painbringers. With that, you're talking about a 6-inch move, 2 health unit, Chaos War style with 3-up save. No built-in ward or whatever, but you know what? These guys have 3 attacks, so 3-up, red 1, damage 1. If that's rend 2, and they have crit 2 hits because you just give them the normal version of it, not even getting the spell off. I mean, sure, that can become mortals, but even so, that's a lot to deal with.
And so that's where I think my final decision on them rests, and that's they have the weirdest interactions with battle tactics. In that when I'm building battle tactics for them, like I've said before several different times, like I really like wrathful cycles and scouting, right? So the natural idea for that is to lean heavy into cav, which is not very survivable for scouting, right? So they do have some of the toolkits to like make units strike last, meaning that you can get all of your attacks in, but they don't have, for me, the damage dealing that's needed once they get across the field. To swing back, right? And that's because the majority of the stuff is what, damage 1 or damage 2.
You're like the seekers we're talking about. I think they're only damage 2 at the charge. You had to get that.
And so they suffer that problem of like having an amazing toolkit, but the battle tactics are all just a little bit off for them. They have great hero killing toolkit stuff, right? Like that's good. And the mortals are great. Maybe you can get a couple of different battle tactics out of that. But they interact with battle tactics in a very strange way to me. I don't think they do. I don't think they play the style of army that I generally want to play, in that I like survivable, fast moving blobs, right?
Yeah.
So there's there's a very interesting problem to be solved with him, and I think like really good players should pick him up, and instead of relying on like soggy beasts, like go forth and conquer, right?
There's so much fun for him. I know that a good friend of mine, uses them a lot and has had great success, with this other toolkit right now. And it definitely is the hidden gem. All those points of demonettes, the amount of attacks you get off of demonettes very easily. 4 or 5 attacks on the charge, cheapest chips, crit mortals. They're, I think for 20 of them, it's a grand total of 200 points.
Yeah.
And there are airbrushes out there, people. I've finally learned to use one, and they make the demonettes work very quickly.
I believe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that's
find a lavender spray paint at that point.
Yeah, a nice dip.
There's a way. Oh, I remember dipping armies. Oh man. But yeah, okay. So what's next, Matt?
Yeah, time for a change.
We got Zinch. We got Disciples
for
of
a
Zinch.
Change. You beat me to it, Jack.
I know the dad jokes galore over here.
Yeah, you got it. That was magical.
Real transformative.
Oh
jeez.
What have we spawned here? Oh goodness. Anyways, so Disciples of Zinch is interesting that they are this low. I still think they are an amazingly good army. They are just, as always, lacking a block of zhuzh. And
I can opine. I can.
Yeah. Lay it on me.
I could speak on that. One of the things that keep Zinch as a low meta representation throughout all the years I've played, even with me playing them as my preferred Chaos faction, there is so much micromanagement with all the spells and all the little intricacies and all the getting the horrors out for the blue horror, and the squirrel changed because it was bullshit, and then it changed because it was bullshit, then it changed because there's so much micromanagement going on throughout your game, and even just making sure you're playing the current rules. It is a hard army to keep up with. And there will be times where the demon side of this book is bad, and then no one wants to play Beastmen, or else they would have just played Beastmen, so no one actually has the 50, 60 Zangor. I do, which is wonderful, and I love them. I love my Skyfires. I actually don't own any of the melee variant because I just love my shooting so much and the synergies it gets. But again, it's synergy, on buff. Because on paper, a lot of your army will be a 5-up save. And if you do not play it right, you will get tabled sillily. There are times where I've played against a Kairos Fate Weaver, and I shot him off top of 1. And other addition, he's a monster, so it's pretty easy to go and shoot and kill. It can be very, very bad. But then there's other times, and he's got flies, so you're not really using the obscuring. But there are other times where you go a Lord of Change that has an aura for -1 to hit the demons, which has been in different iterations throughout the years. But it's, do you want to go and play all your little sentient bubblegum pink horrors? Is that build fun to play over and over again? Would you lean into the Zangor side of things? And I think it's fun, but this isn't everyone's cup of tea to go and be that master magic, big-brained whatever, because half the time the Zinch rules seem like, you roll that 1, you blow up. What do you do? The Tome of Eyes, even, and the Burning Sentinel. No, it was the Burning Sentinel recently that had to get a rewrite because it was so detrimental to the Zinch player more often than not.
Yeah,
they just never took their own endless spell lore.
So I'll posit this. I think, and I think you kind of spelled it out. Actually, without realizing it, I think Zinch players, most Zinch players specifically, are stuck in the idea of 3rd edition of the moving castle of 18-inch doom, right?
Yep.
Where everything within 18 inches will be essentially dead on your turn.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen, then you have a stupid amount of horrors that will just clog a board and people have to get through it.
Yep.
And that's essentially become the Tzeentch one-trick pony, right?
Yep.
Now, there is a whole 2 other sides to that book, actually, that we don't really see much of. First being the chariots.
Yes. I agree.
Which
they're good.
Had a lot of fun with. And screamers.
I love my screamers.
Well, screamers are beasts. They don't have that capturing ability, and neither do the chariots when it comes down to it, right?
Yeah.
They do have the ability to really just like focus on getting buffed up from your little sorcerer dude on a chariot, and then the rest of your flamer chariots running around with warp flame, warp flame, warp flame, warp flame, right?
Yep.
Just bullying units with speed, running over them, mortals, etc. Blah 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 blah. So like that, I think, is a very finesse army, but it does suffer, if I remember correctly, from the same problem that happened to Slaanesh. Is a lot of 14-inch moves move down to 12.
Oh yeah.
So that makes it a little bit harder to play in that kind of really Mad Max, edge of your teeth style of play.
And I'll even add on with the Zangor being bumped up to 2 wounds at this edition or at the end of 3rd. I don't remember when it happened. Again, a life-changing quality of life move for them, where even if they are on a 5-up save, getting them to be pushed into enemy territory to get the 2 crit 2 hits. And now they have a soggy battle formation that, as long as your Arcanites, which are all of your infantry, are wholly within 12 of a demon unit, which they will be, because again, you're still playing it as some kind of a castle, and there are enough little demon wizards that you want to bring anyway to babysit units, they'll always have the exploding hits, which is very nice. And then you're not pigeonholed into the weird flame host with where they're -1 to wound you if they're burning. The burning mechanic is clunky at best sometimes. Only being able to actually have 1 unit to be burned unless you use one of the artifacts is rough, because it's only 1 per shooting phase. They'd have to get tagged in the hero phase or the shooting phase to apply it the first time.
It's one extra thing.
It's not Nurgle disease.
It's one extra thing. I think there's one glaring problem that playing a Warflock army, which is any of the Zangor stuff.
Yeah.
And that is that the shaman is on a disc and he has fly. And that makes them a lot more problematic to play.
That is pretty much why I went Teamkin when the new our current GHB, I shouldn't say new, our current one came out. I'm like, oh, my whole army flies, I don't care. But you need that hero alive, or that just falls apart.
Well, and that's where I actually have a list that is actually very good. I'm gonna straight up tell you.
Yeah, we have the technology.
So using Screeching Warflock, you can actually really make a good use of the Zangors without relying on the shaman, because that gives you, it's the standard, gives you another 3 dice when rallying.
Oh, right? Sure. Yeah.
So this is actually one of the lists where I was pleasantly surprised in my last GT with one of the soggy units. And that's the Scourgeoran Carrick Acolytes. They're actually very good. So here's the list. We know it's the Warflock, so we have the 3 extra dice for rallying that bumps us up to 9, which is 2 Zangor.
They have musicians too,
maybe
normally,
3,
so
right?
Yeah.
So 2 regiments, which means you do have speed.
Yep.
1 Zangor Shaman with a 9-eyed tome, giving him +1 to cast. That means you're gonna get an endless spell out for the most
reliably.
part, for the most part, when you need it for those soggy acolytes, which they get. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. But anyways, +1 to cast, +1 to unbind. So he's great, grand, wonderful. Zangor Shaman is actually a fairly decent combat model for Tzeentch.
We love a disc.
You can have him supporting, right? 1 unit of Reinforced Enlightened on Disc of Tzeentch. Another unit of Reinforced Enlightened on Disc of Tzeentch. Zangor Skyfires, Reinforced, of course.
Of course.
And then in the next regiment, that's where we would have Magister on Disc of Tzeentch with the Illusionist. Now, the reason we have it on him is because he provides the speed in the army. He can actually, while a unit is within this unit's combat range, they're able to run and charge. So that means if you've got 2 units of reinforced, what do they call them? Enlightened, they should be able to fit on the Illusionist's circumference and stay within combat range. So you've got 2 blobs put up because he's got the larger base. So now you've got a -1 to hit bubble around your Illusionist and combat, and they all just go forth and conquer, right?
Yeah.
Now, in the rest of his regiment is going to be a little spammy as well, because apparently I like the spam in this list. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah.
Scourge of Garan, Carrick Acolytes, and those are reinforced. Another big blob. And the reason I'm taking these is because you add 1 to the damage of the characteristic of the melee units while it's wholly within 12 inches of any manifestations. So that means you can throw them down in a spot. They're cheap. They're 100 points each.
They are.
Throw down, and throw down whatever manifestation you want. It can be, in this list, it's just the normal Tzeentch ones.
Sure.
But throw down a predatory endless spell and have it run up with them and hang out. And they become like a nice little distraction card effects for 200 points. And that's it, right?
Yeah, that's the right points amount you want your distraction, too. It's just big enough they got to really dedicate something to kill it, but...
Yep. And at the, I think it's the beginning of, in your shooting phase, you can pick a unit within 12 inches to add +1 to rend to them. So all of a sudden you have these cheap as chip units that you can all out attack, bringing you to 2 attacks each, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 2.
Yep.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good for 200
And they don't have an armor save really anyway, so you don't care that they're -1 to their save. They were going to die anyway.
Yep. And then the actual main meat of the army would be 2 units of reinforced Angors. So that is 40 wounds each. That's 80 wounds split across 2 models, right? Now, they're not amazing, but while they're in enemy territory, they have crit 2 hits, which is pretty bam, right?
You're damn right.
Just for the amount of attacks that they have. And if you keep the Shaman with them, he can essentially start throwing plink damage. And then however many mortal wounds he causes on whatever unit you guys are in, you just return the models that come back in.
All right.
Rinse and repeat. And then if you retreat to grab an objective after you've ran and charged, any of that stuff works. Now, the fun part of this is that little bomb that you've made early on is full of cavalry. So you can still use scout rules on them.
Yeah.
And after you've made everybody go up and you've got your enlightened out, you've got your skyfires out, all of those can start doing your scouting tactics.
And they still move quick. Yeah.
Exactly. And
they're on the disc, so they actually have a little bit more of an armor save. Okay.
So you are still playing by the seat of your pants. This is not an easy army, right? You're not really leaning into what makes Tzeentch as far as most people think about it. But I would love to see this list piloted by someone better than me, even though this has been my main outside of the Tzeentch Chariots when I've done practice games.
That's a lot of fun.
It survives way longer than you expect it to. And frankly, it is probably one of the cheapest armies to build out there, with 2 Games Workshop games having multiples of Zangors out there.
That's fair.
You know, I feel like this explanation is both convincing to me, Matt, and also proves that you were carrying a word flame torch for this particular iteration.
I mean, it may have to be the next one I run. I've been working on too many things, but oh my goodness, I'm almost through all of these dogs and goblins.
Very nice.
Almost through them.
It's really funny the way like your painting desk is like very much reflective of the game board, where you're just clogged in your deployment zone.
It's insanity, but you know, only 8 more chariots and the lava to go. So
there you go.
It's too funny.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Disciples of Tzeentch have a lot of different ways to play. There's a whole other list where you don't even have to worry about the soggy acolytes, and just do a slog list. Just a full slog list.
So they definitely have play, but do you think people just have their heads stuck in the old way with like, I need my Kajillion Horrors Castle and nothing else, and they've been dismissive of it? Is that what?
And again, it's the fear of I've got to cast all these spells, and what even though the current spell lore again it's just 3 spells, and then the endless spells, and you do it over and over, you know, and it's the mental part of the game where some people are like, well, there's easier armies to play, that are simpler.
It's not an easy army to play if you don't like not having a 3-and-up save. It is not your army, right? Unless you just want to play horrors. And if you want to play horrors, you have a very specific build, because horrors are slow and they don't win games. They only annoy people to death Flamers on that one objective. Yeah, Flamers are insanely good.
They are.
So I mean, I would love to see.
I have a 4-1 with them. That's right. Shit, that's the joke that I'm a narrative gamer. That was this. So again, if we go back, I think it's hard to play, but it's really rewarding when you get your shit down right.
I think narrative with a knife-shaped end.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
red mask and everything.
I think there's more depth to the army than people really give it credit for, and it's a harder army to play. In general, like decision paralysis is a real thing with Tzeentch, and the decisions that you make have more lasting effects than a lot of other armies that are, you know, kind of big right now, right?
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, I mean, but I do think it's probably more rewarding play when you get those wins than you know, taking my Soul Blight list that I took to Tacoma Open, right? Because you're not getting any second chances, you know. You're playing to win, and you're playing on hard mode, and I think that's a challenge. That's a good challenge, but also that list is a lot more survivable than it has any right to be. So
that's fair. But might just be a lot of people haven't found that list right prior to this podcast. You know, people stuck in the old ways. Maybe that percentage will go up.
That's the hope.
Pretty sure we got a couple more of these in us.
Also, I do have my Kairos actually on my desk right now. So
he's a good boy bird.
I was ready, but so going on to Maw Tribes here, keeping our pace up. We're doing great on time, I'm sure. I've lost track. With ogres, because you know, it was the joke of the destruction retirement. It was, you know, the big monster trucks go fast and smash. And they used to be a very easy army to build to 2,000 points, because you get a couple starter boxes of the monster trucks, of the Stonehorns, or the Thunder Tusks, or Stonehorns again, depending which iteration of whatever. You had an army. But that's not necessarily what's strong right now. It's the foot ogres.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not as popular.
Yeah, well, it might just be the range refresh, guys. Rumors of one coming.
Well, so exciting. There's also a couple of different things, right? Like Ogre Mob tribes suffer from the same thing that we've had from the previous 2 armies, which is their survivability, if they get hit with something, is kind of low. Their saves are not very good, right?
Even they on the foot guys. It's health tanking.
Yep, they rely on wounds. And if somebody has enough to, I'm going to foreshadow this, but, you know, throw enough damage out of fighting twice to, you know, murk a unit, and they can do that multiple times, or they have ways of making you fight less.
Good shooting.
Ogre Maw tribes really just, they have a lot of problems. That being said, they are a terrifying army to fight.
Yeah.
So like I can see the and for me here, I'll honestly say it, like I don't really have much interest in Ogre Maw tribes. I want to do a BCR army, but do I feel extremely compelled by the current range of models? No, not really.
Yeah. See, that's the essence of it right there, Matt. I mean, I think all the stuff you said is true, right? Like they're not necessarily tough outside of wound density, and their range is completely aged at this point. It hasn't been updated like at all. But if
like
you
a couple foot heroes,
a couple foot heroes here and there, like the Blood Belt Hunters, like the only thing they kind of gave them.
But look at those man hunters, the man eaters.
Oh yeah, which are terrifying, by the way.
The oldest ones ever. Do you remember those were like the original old world models, like the ninja? And like
I remember when they came out.
I had the ninja. I had the ninja and the baking lady.
And the captain, been promoted in the Altdorf military. That does that kind of.
Oh, I had that guy as well.
Yeah. I have all those too. I mean, you guys know I have an ogre army, kind of kicking around. And
so why don't you play them then?
Well, I think it's because my play style had to pick one right at a given time. I really enjoy the Slaves of Darkness. I really enjoy like my Heat Knights, of course, and all that. And I've had some fun and kind of tinkering around ogre in my tribes, but I just haven't been like grabbed by them recently because of all like the time of the darkness. But I don't think they're bad at all. Like the toolkit's just great. I mean, even when the monster trucks were running rampant, that was kind of the only thing people would do, like run 5 of them and play tricks with vultures and all that. That was still good.
Yeah.
And now it's good in a different way where you have the ability to run in charge with like absolute sledgehammer units, like, the Iron Guts, who can easily hide in obscuring terrain because only 4 models strong. And all you need to unlock that is a single butcher who can also hide in that terrain. You have the
Gorgers.
Yeah, Gorgers.
The new Gorgers. That's right. The new,
How often are you able to ambush like a 20 wound unit to go like ravage things out of nowhere? It's pretty solid. They can take anything in a straight up fight, but it's kind of back objectives, unguarded stuff. And you also
go to that. We just even kind of forgot about them being in the army because we're like, oh yeah, none of the models got refreshed because the emphasis has always been on such other stuff.
I guess that was a refresh. Those were the new thing they released as part of that bit. Yeah. And they're gorgeous. But the pit, just dropping D3 wounds on things and you put something on it like anywhere.
So much better than the Mod Pod circumstantial healing.
Exactly. What about, I'm dropping a couple things, but they're just so good. What about the new Soggy Iron Blaster? It can absolutely devastate things, those 5 damage shots.
Oh, I hate that thing. I hate that thing so much.
It's great.
We can't forget that they have like still one of the cheapest screens in the game. Yeah, it's tough to prevent your Iron Guts from getting like ruined.
The cutest models simultaneously.
Yeah, it's so easy to paint that basically you look at them, they're painted because there's so little surface there.
Yeah, and again, they have so much that should be going for it.
Yeah,
So I will posit then my theory, and that's that. Well, they do have a good toolkit. They are just the middle of ground of everything. They are the most middle ground, well-rounded army in Age of Sigmar that can do everything. They can't do it better than anybody else, though.
Yeah, they're not the monster army anymore. Sons of Bahamut took that over. They're not the shooting army. They're not the artillery army. Cities and KO and so many others. Heavy infantry, we've got Nurgle, we've got Stormcast. I hear you.
And fundamentally, like they do have decent speed, right? When they're not in combat, they still move quicker, right? If I remember correctly.
I believe that's still a rule.
So, like they have all the tools, they just don't have all the shiny tools. All of theirs are crusted with the awful and the like intestines of the monsters and people that they've eaten, and so they just need a little glow up.
I think you're right. They're just one range refresh and a new book away from like people probably discovering them again. Don't think you get too much, but like they're still great. But
remember all the impact hits?
Oh yeah, they used to be the most fun. There was that list a while ago where it was basically Kragnos with a bunch of tyrants because they could count their big name as being monsters.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. That list would be terrifying now with all the obscuring, but hopefully it's gone.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? You think we should see more of them?
I think we should see more of them, and I think we will see more of them because I really do think there's this range refresh coming in there, and maybe officially announced it. But I think that even if that wasn't the case, we should see more of them because they're a very good army. There's no one's pushover, and it feels good to play them on the tabletop. They're one of those armies that make you feel grounded, like in the fantasy nature of it, where like it felt like there were like real people and things out there you were fighting. The Beastmen hordes were another one, of course. I mean, who knows what those are anymore?
I'll go and cry. I'll go and cry. It's okay.
We got Zinch together, Matt. But yeah, you know, like again, it also looks like an army.
Yep.
You know, you got some shooting, you got some infantry, you got some calves, you got all kinds of crazy stuff. And then you can get esoteric with the Yetis, you know? Like, there's all kinds of stuff you can do here.
They have their place in the sun. I even designed, though I won't go into too much detail on it here because I know we're going to put on the next one, but I designed a 3 Noblar scrap launcher list army, which is based around abusing the new Soggy rules to stop things from charging and moving.
Yeah.
Which you should just play. Now that you gotta bear that banner after you're done with your
your team tournament there out in Beantown.
Exactly. I'll put down the horned helm of the Therodon and put up some other fun ridiculousness for a bit. Though of course I'm still following my bull theme because I have like about a gajillion and one models still in boxes to assemble and paint for the Hellsmiths if I should. Jeez, like everyone else, right. But I was there first. I was spiritually looking to that big old flame bowl.
Yes, you very much were. So going from the toolkit Masters of None to, let's say, the most one-sided faction in the game, Fire Slayers.
They need more unit diversity.
They literally need a different profile, pants.
Yep.
Just something.
So the little baby Droth unit is fantastic where they're all clothed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's even popular.
So go ahead, Rocco.
Well, no, because I got feelings and thoughts. I want a unit of Valkyrie Fireslayer women riding teenage Magmadroths and like a unit of 3 hucking javelins at motherfuckers.
Hell yeah. Split box.
I'm there for it, Rocco, too. This is a very specific fantasy.
No, I'm just saying that like that would be a cool. They need a cavalry unit that is in between the big ass monster and all the naked baby men, and they need.
You're totally right.
And that would fit.
I get that.
But yeah, it is very specific. I just think it'd be really cool to be the Valkyrie coming around wings and hucking shit. But again, that's Stormcast bag kind of with prosecutors. But neither here nor there.
It could work though because you're capturing something. They need a new profile, right? I've heard this said before that it's an army with like a one-tone profile, which is like little orange-haired spiky guys, and they have the one monster, but there's like nothing in between.
They literally have 4. No, they actually have like 7 war scrolls. They actually have 7 war scrolls built from 2 boxes.
Yeah, it's true. And
so Volkites with shields, Volkites with hand weapons.
So there's like I have a massive Fire Slayers army because they've been like a passion project of this is the one army that I just eternally thinks they suck, right? And have found some interesting ways to play them, like a teleporting bomb of like 30 of them back when we had the ability to do that with the shields. But they right now they suffer from the same thing from every other army that we've already looked at. They have a 5 and up or 4 and up.
They're wound dense.
They're wound dense. They do have a shrug, which you can make pretty good in some areas. Like there's a way to get a 4+ ward on one of your units, who admittedly are the strongest unit that you always want to combat, but they're also 5-man base, so that's only 10 wounds going up to 20 wounds of 4 and up wards on your. I think it's 6 or 5 and up saves. So
they've got an always strikes first shenanigan that can make them a little more survivable, but it's
a shooting army. A shooting army absolutely tables them easily because they're still dwarves. They still only move 4 inches, right?
Yeah.
So,
and they have invested in shooting like their right thinking cousins, the Hellsmiths, or even demons.
KO who? Yep.
Well, they even lost their axes, right? Their
That's
little
true. They lost
axes.
the throwing axes.
So there's a lot that the army needs. Mm-hmm. However, I do think that because of the way that you can build, they also have like the potential to be one of the scariest melee armies in the game. And so
magma dross are good.
Even outside of magma dross, if you're doing all infantry, now you have the ability to hide in the woods with every single character, right?
Yep.
Most of them have the ability to fight twice in some way, shape, or form. And the Lodge guys, the newest model that they have with the 2 hammers. I'll just pull it up.
Yeah, where it's the guy who's the last surviving member, and he's going to go on a suicidal
exile.
There you go.
While you're pulling that up, I really got to advance the theory that I think that this has been their theme for a while, right? Like some folks will bring them out and work magic with them and like win tournaments, big tournaments. They're very menacing in the right hands, but they don't get a lot of people who want to do that and put them together. And it's just like that, like representation of who says, you know what, these guys are my jam. Despite having such a cool aesthetic, holdover from the old world, the Slayer keeps and all that.
Yeah.
I think they're not far from it. Like if they just got a couple kits, they'd be there. I mean, like you mentioned one of it, Rocco.
So many
Valkyries.
Heroes.
What about like a war machine? Like some kind of thing that spits magma, like over like 20 inches. Cool.
Yeah. Done. I mean, they have that in their prayer lords.
The Zagron flame spitter.
Their manifestations actually are very good. Very, very good as well. The thing that I've noticed with them, because I'm consistently building lists with them to try and get myself through painting them, is that while they try and survive off of wound density, they don't have the survivability to keep the wound density in the current state with a lot of the models that we see out there on, just mid tier of this graph that we're looking at, right? So like it really comes down to
Tzeentch has more recursion.
That's true.
How do you make that happen? Now there are ways you can do it. You can get a battlesmith for like a little bit of extra survivability, right? He gives you an extra 3. I always take the extra 3 dice for the rally.
Sure.
And they can completely own an objective, especially with the battlesmith, because no negative modifiers shenanigans on them. They have ways to make other people slow. They have ways to make themselves run a charge. They have a lot. They have like one of the bigger toolkits of the armies, but I almost feel like it is actually their model range, because if you're going to add a magma droth to the army, that suddenly means that you're building around a magma droth and you're not building around small heroes. So
you have prayer ash, you got all your stuff. Yeah.
And you have 2 different ways that you got to build the army. You either go in on magma droth, and then you can have like a mini BCR army actually, which is kind of fun. But then you're paying for how many magma droths now?
Yeah.
Which you don't know if they're still going to be good, in the next GHB. Or you're going.
Then what tactics? Because like you can't do your scout and you give up the kill a hero pretty easy, and then you. Yeah.
They have kind of a hard time with tactics from what I can see. And then the last thing is, because of the runes rules, they offer, I would say, more decision paralysis than Disciples of Tzeentch, right?
Oh, yeah.
Picking the right rune will win you a game. Picking the wrong rune will lose you a game.
Yep.
And
that's fair.
And even if it's the right rune, but they know how to, because if it's the always strikes first rune, right? And they just are like, okay, I back up 2 inches and don't charge you. You don't get always strikes first unless I charge. So if you counter charge me, cool, it's my turn.
So there's a lot of like ways to get around their toolkit. They are a hard army to play, but a bunch of diaper wearing guys with lava and gold pounded into their skin. Cool. Really fun.
That's their god. As gold tattoos.
The Eternal Project, man. The Eternal Project.
Well, that's, guys, I think there's a lot to be said for that. You've hit the nail on the head. I mean, little bit of expanded range. They can do the work. We just need more of an allure there. I think for this one, we should maybe round it off with one more because we're talking about the bottom of the barrel. If we go too much farther up, we're going to be hitting armies that are actually mid-level popularity, and we don't want to get into that. So who are we finishing up on? What's our final one for the list?
We're getting huge, boys, with the Sons of Behemoth.
Got some SOBs in here.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. What do you guys think about this?
I think Sons are my eternal bane. There is one army that I've consistently lost games to, and it's Sons of Behemoth. And I know exactly why, because I can DPK them, but my style of play really, really makes me never want to ever commit into one area, especially with Scout, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like they're actually one that I'm always consistently surprised when they are either placing low or they have lower representation. So enlighten me.
So they are, again, an easier army to collect. It's generally one big box that can make several kits, or you get a bunch of the little I think man crushers, not eaters.
Man crushers, that's right.
There we go. Took me a second to remember.
Crusher.
I went, man, she's a man eater. No, not the point. The new kit and King brought is really good and brought a lot to the army. It has a really good army of renown. Even if you don't take the army of renown, you get access to a lot of really cool monstrous rampages that include suplexing a motherfucker, picking their model up, and placing it within an inch of your model to pull things out of position for buffs and debuffs and crazy abilities. The thing about a Sons of Behemoth army is you probably go in 4 Mega Gargants in some configuration, or maybe you throw a Kragnos in there for some 3d6 charge shenanigans. That's great. If you do that, you only have 4 models. Kragnos build might take some of the littles, like it might be 2 Mega Gargants, a Kragnos, and 3 babies, and you have the time. But one of the things that they're suffering with, because yes, they are the damage check army. Can you kill a Mega Gargant a turn? And they have the toolkit to be like, hey, I've got a 6-up ward on all my dudes because they're near each other. I've got this debuff. They have ways where I on my armor saves, if I get a 6-up to save, I reflect mortals back at you. I can do fun stuff with this army. It has the tools. But at the end of the day, if you're only bringing 4 models, you can only stand on 4 objectives. And the way a lot of the battle plans are, they're wider. They have more things you got to do and interact with. And if your ideal scenario is 2 Mega Gargants have to stand next to each other, so one dude suplexes the monster, flips them back, so then they can't all hit the one Gargant at once, you're going to have a rough time.
I think that's fair. Maybe one thought on it would be the old way of like people's Mega Garg armies back when they did have crazy meta representation and people would just assemble for them because it was the easiest, quickest way to get a competitive army on the tabletop. It doesn't work, as you said, Rocco, because the tactics are just difficult for them to achieve in addition to the control. Like in a perfect world, you're standing on 4 objectives, you have 1, 2 more, and even the widest map, they don't manage to kill you. Yeah, you're winning the objective game, but what tactics are you really doing? I mean, none of your guys can qualify for scouting. That's not even on the table. You literally can't do a lot with intercept and recover because if they just keep away like 3 little things, you're never going to track them down. I mean, the traditional army makes it really hard to do that unless someone just feeds you things. Yes. I do think people have had a lot of success just using the regiments of renown to fill in gaps there. Like people use like big pigs or the rabble rousers and the bottle hits or
rabble rousers.
Just some other random thing which gives them bodies.
Big pigs and Kragnos are actually terrifying.
Yeah.
I think that's what LVO
or even just a little bit of shooting in there too from the Crow Boys one, if I remember. It usually does all right.
Yeah.
And I think go ahead, Rob.
Oh, no, Matt, you good.
I think the main thing is just straight up the call out of like they can't be everywhere at once. And now it's also like even more against them in this GHB with some of the missions that may come up. If they get that one mission where they're stuck on an objective, cool,
and gets unlocked.
Right?
Yeah,
I now know that I've got a full turn to get as far away from them and go on the other side, and then force that check and kill one.
yep.
Right. And I think it's been like the overarching theme of the Armies since it first came out, which is if you kill one of those models, that Giants player, that SOV player is suddenly going, oh no,
that's a quarter of my army,
right?
Yeah.
So like killing one is a mental game against your opponent right away. And it really does show in a lot of those missions.
That's fair.
Yeah. Just thinking of what you can do with some of that stuff, just your twists, and like there's a lot of things stacked against the army. But I do wonder if maybe there is a purely like smaller build or a smaller Giants build where you have one big dude and then a ton of little guys and little itty bitty 2x2x2s.
It used to be the War Stomper would do extra buffs for them in one of the sub factions, but they got rid of that. There's a soggy thing that helps them. But
there's the question though, right? And maybe it's because people are starting, maybe because we all want to buff our units into glorious, perfection, and the army doesn't need it. They're fast. They can definitely take objectives. They can definitely kill stuff in combat, right? Maybe it doesn't need to be overwhelming stomping anymore. Maybe it's patient playing and actually like setting up charges with multiple units. And could just be one big mama SOB leading around a bunch of little babies.
And again, that was a thing for a while too. When they first came out, it was just they just sat there and they didn't die, and you hope they live through the first 3 rounds, and your opponent can't catch up in scoring. But again, like you said, what battle tactics are you doing if you're stuck on an objective?
Maybe it's that, right? I mean, if someone's coming up on this where as we talk about it, I feel like maybe it's a playstyle thing, right? Because if you were into, the 4 megas kind of playstyle, I mean, most Suns players like that idea.
Yeah,
a smaller section, like some megas plus some littles or a bunch of littles, try to work it out, and even smaller is to try to unlock like the weird regiments right now, like tech you can kind of do. So just like right there, you're cutting down the people who are going to find success from the way they like to play to a smaller degree, and the kind of thinking that's going to lead into, oh, I want to be crafty and careful with my charges, isn't really fit the spirit of I'm 30 feet tall and I'm eating a cow and I go sit on this objective and I built 4 models because I want to have an easy time and drink a beer while I go to my GT. Not to discredit that, but I think that there's maybe a bunch of players that think that way. Like, I don't want to pay a lot to get 4. It's great.
And Lord knows those games are fast. No, you're not getting accused of slow playing when you've got 4 models to move around.
Yeah, and if you are, oh boy, buddy.
Oh. Yeah.
That being said, I think their main problem is battle tactics.
Like, it is definitely that right now. I mean, if they had like sit on 2 objectives for 3 turns in a row battle tactic, we'd see them a lot more. Something like that.
So what do you guys think would work for them? Because scouts, they just flat out can't take, right? They don't have infantry. They don't have cavalry.
No.
So like maybe it's master the paths as one. But that means that you've got to make sure that you are overwhelming your opponent right away, right? And you have to have a bunch of dudes alive to get the envelop and strangle.
Yeah. I could see almost an attuned to Gairan, where you have the 2 Gargants in the middle of the table if you know there's going to be objectives there to at least start it. Again, intercept and recover, it's not ideal, but if you killed all the stuff somehow, it can happen.
Maybe instead of a sit and pray mentality, you could say go forth and conquer.
Yeah.
Try restless energy.
I like that.
It's very easy to get that first battle tactic with Gargants, right? But the second one, if you just keep moving and just say, screw it, I'm going to kick this objective downfield and then go on to the next one.
Oh, that's another thing. A lot of the early Gargant builds from previous edition to now, you were looking at the Kraken Eater to kick an objective and move it because they changed that rule. It still counts as if it was in the zone where it started because it used to be, you could kick it out. It'd be like it's an enemy territory. It costs more points.
Yeah.
No, they changed that around and giving them the soggy version of that where cool hits a deep strike and Gargant. That base is so big it functionally doesn't help me.
It's a good point.
I could just move there.
Maybe a couple ideas there. I mean, these are like things that they could do for the army to make the more pure Gargant builds kind of work. I'll throw out one mildly spicy one and one very spicy one. Mildly spicy, you're just talking about the deep striking, Kraken. Give him and some littles, maybe a small amount of littles, the same rule, and make it like a 3-inch or a 6-inch, so like you can literally drop them onto objectives at some point.
Sure.
And that's like all of a sudden going to work better with that base, and still somewhat screenable because of the massive size. But like, now you can like start to do stuff more quickly and force a confrontation. But the really spicy one would be something that I do predict GW will do at some point in this edition is start to break their own structure, where they've kind of gone to a realm where everybody has the same battle tactics, which I think is great. But what if they introduce a new model, maybe like that big Lady Gargant I've heard a rumor about, where there's a rule which allows you to score tactics in an alternative way, like built into the war scroll or something like that. Like, Stu's cooking, and all of a sudden you can override some existing tactic where, like, by number of units destroyed or some other win condition, you basically just like score 1, 2, 3. So you're always in the game.
Pyro's changing battle tactics from.
I
like it.
Genuinely hope that they don't mess with the fundamentals, to be honest. I feel like one of the biggest complaints that a lot of people had with OBR and Sons of Behemoth were that they just broke the rules of the game. And that can end in a unfun experience, right? So
totally agree.
For me, I kind of hope they don't do that. I'm more thinking of like, what could they do now? And I think, what was it? Did we finish our battle tactics? Did we say Wrathful Cycles?
Because I talked about it explicitly.
I don't know if we did. I think we said Wrathful, but I was looking at Wrathful too.
I think Wrathful would actually be really good because there's always one turn where a Giants player is down on objectives. And if they're one of the armies that you never want to get doubled by, regardless of what's going on in the game, right? So, like, I feel like you could really bully somebody with Wrathful Cycles, actually, as a Sons of Behemoth player. Like, that would be interesting.
Yeah. I'm onto this line of thinking.
Yeah, and not to shoot down the changing the ways of the game. It's just it's always a little like, is that gonna, how much, will that suddenly have an influx of players that are here to just play it for that, amount of time before, that rule gets back to a standard cost, or it suddenly gets a points cost.
It's true. Well, I guess maybe in addition to the mama giant or the big lady giant, they could release a bunch of toddler giants or like monster symmetry sized ones, like young adults.
Get some Goliath in there. I don't know.
It's just something to like kind of go do things on the battlefield.
I would love for them to get Noblars, to be honest.
That would be funny.
They do have those things that sit on brow.
Creepers.
Right? Creepers, yeah. Some creeper infantry would be like a godsend for them.
Oh my goodness! You know what would be great?
What?
Ticks.
Shh. Do you know how scary a tick for a giant would be?
I know, but
Good
just imagine that is like that's their like swarm or
And we're in Guyran currently. That would like fit.
Be truly gross, but
ticks and fleas and just like all of their like parasites, little flying remoras.
It would have to be like their camp followers, like their little dogs or things like that. Just form loose mobs to help them out in terms of like displacements and like stuff on the battlefield. Well, I think we did hit on a pretty solid reason though why they might not have as high a meta representation as we've seen. And there you have it, guys.
Ticks.
We covered
not just nervous ones.
I had to end the episode on a gross note. What can I say?
I like it.
It's a bloody end, latched onto something there.
Really a mouthful, Matt. That's
but I guess we got our fill. So I think.
How do we have listeners sometimes?
On that note,
I love it.
I think we have come to a good place, though. I challenge anybody who is listening to pull out your army. I know a lot of people in the area, at least in the Seattle Pacific Northwest area, have these armies. And they're not bad.
No, they're not.
They're not
again,
bad.
Fucking Beasley, the Zinch extraordinaire in Seattle. You're telling me he's not rocking some crazy thing with a thermaturge that's from the Soggy thing that's teleporting in and beating something up? Or
man, I think that thing's a trap. I think it wants to be better than it is. But that's a whole episode in and of it itself. We should have an episode where we just dog on war scrolls that are supposed to be good, but they secretly suck.
That would be a very fun one. We should make that one of the upcoming ones.
Get in the comments, see if you want that kind of thing.
Tell
us.
Patrons assemble, list out your top 10 war scrolls you want to be a topic on this. we'll dish on it.
While you're there, hit the bell and all that fun stuff. Like and subscribe and do all the stuff.
We've got the merch. We've got all the stuff. You're going to hear my voice after the episode if you even listen to that.
Oh, yeah.
And,
will.
I think it's, is it time?
It's time for the last word.
Oh, man.
Who's the SOB who's got the last word?
Ticks. Hello, everybody. It is Rocco, your boy, coming at you once again with another Always Strikes Last promo. That's right. Ring that bell. Leave a like, a subscribe. On whatever platform you're listening to us on, be it YouTube, be it Podbean, whatever you got these days, so you can keep up to date. Don't forget, we have a Patreon if you want to, give us a thank you for all the stuff we put out. That gets you into our member-exclusive Discord. And if you want to be an even bigger supporter, we've got a merch store.